Hello, Sylvia here, nutrition and fasting coach. So I listened to this audiobook, The Oldest Cure in the World, and I wanted to talk about something that really makes me angry, but in the best possible way. So how many of you have been to the doctor and walked out with a prescription and no real answers? There's actually a tool that's been around since the beginning of human history. It's free, it has no side effects, and the medical system has basically pretended it doesn't exist. So this is where it pisses me off, because our healthcare system is built around treating symptoms, not healing a root cause. So have you ever heard of anyone that's been cured from having high blood pressure? Or have you ever heard of anybody that has been diagnosed with diabetes and they have been cured to come off of insulin? No. These kind of diseases are managed by controlling the symptoms. They don't fix what's the underlying cause. So, and many of these medications has come with a lot of side effects, right? I'm sure you've seen on TV commercials when they advertise for drugs, and it takes them longer to read through the list of side effects than it takes to actually promote the good benefits of the drug. And what else is that when you start to take something, one of the side effects are often that you have to take more of it. Let's take diabetes, for example. If someone has been diagnosed with diabetes, gets put on insulin. So insulin is something that we naturally have in our body, right? And having diabetes, it doesn't mean, okay, I'm talking about type 2 diabetes here. So if you have type 1 diabetes, that is actually a lack of insulin. Your body can't make enough insulin. So that is, you need insulin to control this, to keep these people alive. So type 2 diabetes is not a lack of insulin. There's actually too much of it already. And then we're adding more. And what this causes, insulin is your fat storing hormone. So when you keep adding insulin, you're constantly walking around with high insulin. You're constantly storing fat. And so people that's been put on insulin, they very often gain more fat. And they get sicker. And then we have to up the dose and up the dose and up the dose. So then when we start talking about women over 40, with weight gain, fatigue, brain fog, hot flashes, yeah, it's just menopause. Here's a pill. Meanwhile, there's this ancient practice backed by centuries of use, and modern medicine, like modern science, is getting pushed aside. So why are they pushing this aside? Because you can't patent fasting, and there's no money in it. And this is why there's not that much studies, not that much studies done on fasting specifics, because nobody's going to benefit from that. There's no pill, there's no prescription to write for fasting. And if you look at all the medical studies that are out there, who's funding them? The pharmaceutical companies. It's the pharmaceutical companies that fund all these studies that are done, because it's going to benefit the sales of their drugs. So, and on top of that, nutritional studies on humans are genuinely really hard to do. Most of them rely on self-reported data. So do you remember exactly what you ate yesterday and what time you ate that food? And when you have people self-reporting, they usually think they're much better than they are. So they wrongly report the portion sizes and exactly what they ate. It's not accurate. So the results are also the same then. So the deck is stacked. It's not by accident, it's by design. So I want to talk about this book, The Oldest Cure in the World by Steve Hendricks. I just finished listening to this book, and he is a journalist. He's not a fasting guru. He's not selling anything. And he digs into the history and the science. No fluff here. This is the real stuff. And it traces back to ancient Greece, early medicine, religious traditions across all cultures. And the fact that fasting is shown up in virtually every civilization throughout history should tell us something. Like, it doesn't go away. It keeps coming back. And even brings out a 19th century doctor who fasted for 40 days on the New York City stage, and he came out healthier. So my point is, this is not a trend. This is not a fad diet. This is ancient wisdom that modern science is now finally starting to catch up to. So what does the science actually say? So fasting triggers something called autophagy. And this is where the magic really starts to happen. And I have this analogy that I like to use, which really simplifies how this works in your body. So picture yourself remodeling your house, right? So you have a few different teams coming in, but the main two teams, you have the carpenters. They're going to be your mTOR. This is the builders. So this is when you're fueling, you're bringing in material, new material to build new structures in your house. And that's you in a fed state. You're eating, that's your material, and you're using this food to build muscle, to do the things that the body does in mTOR state, in building state. Then to be able to do this work properly, you need the demolition team and the cleanup team to come in, and that would be your autophagy. So without the cleanup team, the demo team coming in to removing all the broken, the garbage, the rubble, all the excess, the carpenters can't do their job properly. Everything is getting cluttered. It's getting you just junk accumulating everywhere, and nothing gets done to a good standard. And then all of a sudden, there's so much gunk piled up everywhere that the other teams are starting to struggle. Like the electrical team, the plumbers, they can't come in and do their job. And all of a sudden, these systems are starting to fail. And these systems starting to fail, that's you getting sick. Because now there's so much gunk piled up in your body, and you never bring in the demo team to clean up. So now your systems are starting to fail. You're not efficient metabolically. And that's what's happening if you never let your body use autophagy. So that's just inefficiency. And over time, when you get to that system failure, that's disease. So that's why consistently grazing and snacking all day is so damaging. Your body never gets the signal to clean house. But fasting flips that switch. And research backs this up. Conditions like diabetes, hypertension, inflammation, and neurological conditions as well have roots in cellular dysfunction, and autophagy helps address this. And the thing is, your body already knows how to do this. It just needs the window to do it. Modern medicine doesn't heal metabolic disease. It just suppresses the symptoms. Your body is the only one that can actually heal from these lifestyle diseases. And why this matters for women over 40 is that when we start getting the hormonal shifts in perimenopause and menopause, it changes the way your body processes food and how it stores fat. And then all of a sudden, the standard advice, eat less, move more, doesn't work as well anymore. And you might have even experienced that. But if you start to implement fasting in the right way for your hormones, instead of fighting them, it changes everything. So I want to tell about my client, Yenny, that came to me with joint pain, where she had so much pain she had to change her work because she couldn't do her daily job anymore. She couldn't work in her yard. She couldn't work out. And after working for a while and started implementing fasting, she went back to her physical job. She back to working out. She would go on 2-hour bike rides. Inflammation and pain were gone. And not just that, hot flashes and night sweats are gone. Bloating was gone. She lost weight. And just because she shifted when she eats and what she eats. There was no medications involved with this. So it's not magic. It's just your body doing what it was built to do when you give it the right conditions to do that. So myself, I mean, I tried everything. I tried every diet out there, you know, from pills to shakes to whatever. I had a macro coach at one time. I've had a few personal trainers, supplements, you name it. And, you know, you feel like you're just failing, you're failing. And then until the day, this friend of mine, a chiropractor, so enthusiastically told me about fasting. And I started fasting to lose weight. That was my only goal. And turns out it got rid of a lot of my digestive issues. It got rid of my joint pain. No more hot flashes or night sweats. And most of all, the biggest thing was my energy went up tremendously. And it just shows you that when your body starts to work more efficient metabolically, it just shows up in every way possible. So, and this book, when I listen to it, it just validates everything that I felt on my own body, what I see in my clients, and what I know is true. So I highly recommend reading this book. If you are into any kind of history at all, this is very cool to read, how it's shown up from the beginning of times. People have used fasting, and then it gets shut down by every time there's a new drug or something else, that it just takes over because it's easier to just take a pill. So I highly recommend it. So if you're curious about fasting and you want to try to implement it in the right way, I'm going to drop a link in the comments for a 30-minute free consultation if you want to jump on a quick chat. So until next time, I'll see you later.